It's finally back. The NBA is back, my friends, and it's not going to stop. For the rest of this week, guys, today, tomorrow, and Thursday, we're going to be streaming in the mornings. We're going to be streaming in the evenings, 2 streams a day, because it's that big of a deal that the NBA is here. So good morning to you guys, and welcome into the stream. We're going to start things off like we normally do, but typically now for our morning streams, guys, this is now going to be our newer setup where we're going to focus on some money lines, some spreads, some totals, some main markets when we're looking at the NFL, the NBA, college football, and even the World Series for Game 1. And then later on, and we'll take a peek at some player props today for sure. But tonight's stream at 6 p.m. Eastern, we're going to really heavily focus on player props for the NBA. But welcome in. We're going to first start with some DFS. We'll look at some arbitrage. We'll look at some positive EV. We'll just make a nice lap around the track, making sure that we hit up some different plays. It's Tuesday. It's Hawaiian Tuesday, one of my favorite days of the week where I'm trying to always rock a Hawaiian shirt on Tuesdays. What's going on, guys? Good morning, Irish. What's going on, 49ers? Morning, Chi-Town. And Joey, what's going on, man? What's going on, guys? Appreciate you guys tuning in. Hopefully you're having a strong start to your day. And let's see what we have cooking. So as always, we're starting off with DGF's AI Slip Generator. The Blue Jays win a crazy Game 7 and move on to take on the Dodgers in the World Series. So it's going to be, I think it should be a pretty good series. Doesn't start until Friday. Looks like we have a PrizePicks 6-pick flex. We do have a Flex Friday coming up. Or not Flex Friday. We have a Taco Tuesday that's going to be popping up a little bit later today, a couple different parts of the day. So, for those of you that are new to using maybe a software or new to OddsJam in terms of the NBA, and maybe you've heard people in the past talk about NBA, why it's such a big deal is just because there's no other sport that offers as many markets for player props as the NBA does. It's head and shoulders clearly above the rest of the sports when it comes to profitable betting opportunities. And so this is a 6-pick slip. I'm just going to pause for a minute, guys. If you want to hit this play up, you can. I'm just going to chill for a minute. I haven't really been going after a lot of 5- and 6-pick entries. We did put together a 5-pick slip yesterday with Better. We did hit our first pick yesterday with Kayemi Fairbairn under on his kicking points. We'll come down here to take a look at a 5-pick entry. If you guys don't want to play the 6-pick, you could play this as a 5-pick. So only 2 games tonight. Tomorrow, there's a massive slate of games. And then, unfortunately, on Thursday, there's only 2 games for the NBA specifically, but it's okay. We have a lot, 2 NBA games today, which is going to give us some more betting opportunities. And this is where the arbitrage strategy, in my opinion, changes. For the last 5 to maybe 7 weeks, if you've been arbitrage betting, most of your money has been just tied. You're getting a lot of arbs down during the week, but it's been tied up on the weekends. All your money is tied up on a game that's going to happen on a Saturday or a Sunday. Here's a different 5-pick entry for you guys if you want to rock something different on PrizePicks. Now with the NBA, your focus needs to be that you can start to rotate. You can start to really get your receive returns on your investment every day, right? So the beautiful thing with the NBA is because there's so many betting opportunities and your arbitrage opportunities are out there, you're able to just recycle your funds more efficiently throughout each day, capturing more of a daily return. Because basically for the last 5 to 6 weeks, there hasn't been much going on during the week, especially as the playoffs with Major League Baseball is kind of concluded. And now we only have 1 game going on. There just hasn't been as much. This is a 2-pick rebet prop city entry. We'll spot check this right now. I'll pull an OddsJam screen off to the side here. And let me take a look at Austin Reeves and Eamon Thompson. So also, guys, there is a promo being run right now from DraftKings. Put together any minimum 3-leg SGP. You get 3 months of NBA League Pass for free, which for live betting purposes, I definitely signed up for it and just used the EV tool to make a free bet or not a free bet, to make a 3-leg SGP. Knew I was getting ripped off in price, but to receive it's $20, guys, is the bare minimum. So look at it as you're paying $20 for 3 months of NBA League Pass, which I don't think is all that bad, and you have a chance to possibly win your SGP. So Austin Reeves over under on rebounds. We're getting this at plus odds right now. I believe that FanDuel is quite sharp when it comes to NBA player props. They currently have him at minus 102. FanDuel does. We are receiving the best price out there on Props Builder. So this is quite a good price on Austin Reeves. It's only 12 cents, though, off to FanDuel, which is okay. It's not ideal. But it's something that maybe I could... It's really on the edge there for me. Let's take a look at this Thompson play. Rockets Thunder is the first game tonight. Remember, guys, Peacock is going to be back now for the NBA in terms of streaming, and so you want to make sure that you hopefully you guys have Peacock. It's not going to be used a little bit more other than just Sunday Night Football. So Thompson over 15.5 points. Plus 115. This is 21 cents off to Pinnacle. It's 17 cents off to FanDuel. Again, we are receiving the best price. It's next to Sports Zeno. So I'm okay with a little sprinkle here for a 2-leg parlay. Let me go over to the NBA here, and I'm just going to grab this play and look at some props. And let's look at over-under on points for Thompson. Okay, and then let's add a few more to the selection. Then we're doing the same here for Austin Reeves. And again, guys, Props Builder, you can use this on various different, whether it's an offshore sports book, like a global book like Bovada or Bet Online, or you could just do this on Rebets Props Builder. Just trying to figure out, because I'm on Bet Anything right now, and I found the plays. I'm trying to determine how to add more. Maybe I could do rebounds. No, this is by game. I don't want to do that. Let's go. There we go. Just coming to props. It's a lot easier. Okay. That should be a little bit easier. No doubt about that, Rick. NBA's back. It's a really big deal. And I'd like to think that we're all pretty pumped. I'm definitely pumped. This has been really, guys, when we're thinking about those times of the year, like I can kind of now exhale. With the NBA being back, it's just such a big deal. It really provides just incredible opportunities. There we go. So this is a 2-leg entry. I'm just going to honestly just going to go in here for $50. It's, like I said, it's all right. It's nothing crazy. The edge is okay. Let's move on. Let's take a look at the optimizer. Let's take a look at better first and foremost. We didn't see anything earlier. I'm just going to take a quick screenshot of this play. And you guys know when I take screenshots, you'll see it down here in the bottom right. So we're in for this as a 2-leg parlay. Just put $50 down. The Reeves play, the Thompson play I like. The Reeves plays, it's okay. It's not great. But again, it's early in the morning here, guys. So this could change. We could possibly, this can move to plus 130 and it's going to be really bad. We might be able to get this. This might move to minus 110 and it's really good. So we'll have to see. But for better at the moment here, it just provides just way more opportunities, way more options. There's more going on. There's going to be a lot of player prop odds you're going to see for tomorrow's games, guys, showing up today. There's going to be a lot. At the moment, though, there isn't anything really in green, and the Rogers play isn't too bad. It's a Sunday night game. But Şengün, under 34.5. It's okay. It's an extra point or rebound or assist, but compared to FanDuel's pricing, it's fine. It's not unreal. Sensabaugh play, I like this a little bit more, under on his threes. Yeah, the Sanderson Sensabaugh play I could get down with, but there just doesn't seem to be enough for me to really want to go after anything. Let's take a look at Fliff. Let's see what we have here. And obviously, the NBA is a big enough deal that I'm going back to streaming twice a day during the week. I mentioned earlier, guys, I will be out of the country on Friday. And so there won't be a stream on Friday or Saturday. There will be a stream on Thursday, two streams today, 2 streams tomorrow, 2 streams Thursday, and 1 stream on Sunday. And then next week we'll be back to, 2 streams a day, Monday through Friday. So I got to head into Mexico Friday and Saturday. I'll be back late Saturday. So it should be a pretty decent time. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, not much. Let's look at parlay play. Okay, the parlay play here. Yeah, this Doncic play with Brandon Pajemski. It's not very good to Pinnacle. It's okay to FanDuel. Again, guys, I'm usually looking for a 20-cent difference, meaning that I'm looking for this play to be at like minus 150 compared to minus 130. That gets me excited. 12 cents is okay, but only 3 cents off the Pinnacle, not really. So there isn't much at the moment on parlay play that I'm really wanting to put together on a slip. We do have a DraftKings Pick 6 NBA boost. We also have a free square with Luka. So for Pick 6, there's a little bit more here that I can maybe take a look at and say, okay, we could try this out. Cade Cunningham for tomorrow over on points. Again, a lot of these games are for tomorrow, guys. For today, the first play we have is Caruso. His PRA compared to Pinnacle, this is okay. I'm very excited about the sharp money tool. Except the only thing is that we're really looking for plays for today. And that's the hard part, is there isn't much for today. There's a lot for tomorrow. There's only one play, which is Caruso, and then everything else is for Wednesday. Other than looking at Tari Eason, which, there's just not much I can deal with here. So at the moment here, guys, for Pick 6, like, I'd love to put something together. It seems like it's going to be difficult. No doubt about that, Golden. No doubt about that, bro. I'm going to Hermosillo. So it's only about 5 hours south of Arizona. But it's one of the bigger cities, at least on the north side of Mexico. And it's the capital of the state of Sonoran, where my girlfriend is from. She's from that area. So, but I'll be in Hermosillo for basically 24 hours or so. Nothing too long. Yeah, not much here. Well, obviously, guys, we'll look for a DraftKings Pick 6 entry later in the stream, and also tonight at 6 o'clock Eastern, to see if we can find something else. Let's move over to the arbitrage tool. Yeah, not much. Yeah, that's the thing. It's for live only, Irish. I appreciate that. I saw it earlier. We'll see. That's good. It's good to know it's for live, which that's even tougher. If it's for live, yeah, that can be a difficult thing. As we're looking for some plays here, guys, with arbitrage, remember a couple things to remember. First, the ATP Challenger. Okay, this is a match that's starting for me in about just under 5 hours. Okay, anytime you can find an arb to Pinnacle, this is normally a really good play, right? But we're not talking about Wimbledon or the U.S. Open. We're kind of in the slower months of tennis. So this looks to be a really good play. Again, though, I normally stay away from these types of plays. Okay, this is how you can get limited on your Bovada account or your DraftKings account fairly quickly. Okay, especially now that the NBA is finally back. I would not go after these tennis plays. Not because they're not actual arbs that you can't make money on, but more for account health purposes. That's why I would stay away from this. So if you want to set your parameters or your filters up, guys, for leagues, like, you know what, let's just clear out everything. Let's go football, and let's go basketball, hockey, and baseball, right? Let's go with the 4 major ones. If you know that there's big soccer matches coming up today or later on, you could do that as well, right? But this is where I would just kind of chill from here, and this is where you can kind of set up all your parameters, okay? And you're going to see there's some different plays out there. Now, naturally, with the exchanges like NoVig or ProfitX, they don't care how much money you make. They don't care what's your bet size, how large it is, how small it is. It doesn't matter to them. So this Buddy Hield play is an opportunity. But again, with Sports Zeno, This game's not until 7 o'clock tonight. So how many guys are betting the under on Buddy Hield on player-made threes at, 9:20 in the morning Eastern time? How many people are doing that? So that's why I normally like to save my player prop activity, whether that's arbitrage or EV betting. I like to save it, an hour or an hour and a half before kickoff, right? It's the same idea behind when we bet on Sundays on the NFL for player props. I like to save my player prop betting activity an hour or 2 hours at most before tip or kickoff. So these plays are out there, okay? If you're going to place anything, I'd rather bet the over on Şengün because it's an over. But ideally here, guys, I don't want to place ARBs that are this low of a return this far in advance. Now, if this is the only time of the day that you have to ARB, then obviously go get these ARBs. Go smash them. But if you can allot your time to later today, then I would just do that instead. Let's take a look at the Sharp Money tool. This is a tool, and I do apologize, guys, for any congestion that I have if you hear in the microphone. This is a tool that I'm really leaning on this year for the NBA in terms of just placing bets, right? The Şengün play over on blocks. I think there's going to be some incredible opportunities with the Sharp Money play. So, again, the whole idea behind this is some of these plays on this screen are going to be positive EV, okay? This play over here on Ballybet, it's 31 cents off to DraftKings. It's just pretty well head and shoulders above everything else. This is BetParks or Ballybet, right? We don't really have any sharp books that are out there for this play, but this just looks really, really good, okay? Now, at the moment, over on FanDuel, I'd like to see what FanDuel's taking. And remember, guys, we have a lot of different promos going out there, so don't forget on FanDuel, they have like your choose your own reward today. They can give you bet back tokens and a choice between a bet back token or a no sweat 50% profit boost. You have all these different options. Looks like the no sweat token's $5. This is $10. There's a lot of different options here in terms of claiming your reward on FanDuel, which is really nice. Again, I'm only receiving max refunds of $5. Or I can get a 50% profit boost. Okay, so this is really just depends on what you prefer. The profit boost is pretty decent. I would just use this instead of the no sweat token. Again, no sweat tokens, if I was using this, I'd put this on a long shot. Right. So we'll go ahead and confirm this reward. There we go. What else? Do they have anything else for the NBA? Are they giving us anything extra? No, it seems to be the only one at the moment. But it's pretty good. It's pretty good. So if I come over here to the NBA and I'm looking at Şengün and I'm looking at his blocks, what do we got here? Player defense. Understanding where to navigate these guys is really important. Yeah, FanDuel doesn't have their odds yet, which I should have realized that because it's not on the screen. This just seems to be a really good play. So the idea here is like for Brad Marchand, okay? There's a $250 limit on Pinnacle right now for his player shots on goal, okay? So someone out there on ProfitX is offering you to wager $2,400 on his over 2.5 shots on goal against his old club, the Bruins, right? Well, that means that this bettor wants Brad Marchand's under 2.5 shots on goal at plus 125 odds. That's why he wants the under 2.5. That's why he's offering $2,400 on the over. So if we can get this at Ballybet, Bet Rivers, Desert Diamond, or Hard Rock at the same exact price that this bettor wants this as. So the thought process is like, Pinnacle's only taking $250, so this guy's putting down much more liquidity than what Pinnacle's offering. You could say 8 times the amount, if not almost 9 times the amount that Pinnacle's taking. We believe that this person is a professional bettor. Okay, now this could be a rich dude that's just a fan. Maybe he's a Panthers or a Bruins fan of Marchand. Maybe he's a Bruins fan. He doesn't want Marchand to get any shots on goal. Maybe he's just a rich dude that's bored, right? But the idea here is that we believe that this guy's sharp, because he's putting down way more money on this exchange than what Pinnacle's allowing. So we want to tail this guy or this girl. We want to tail this person. And so we can get the same odds over here on Ballybet. Now you can see this is the same odds at Pinnacle, right? But what you have to understand here is that this liquidity is really low over at Pinnacle, what's being accepted. So this is one where we're not believing that Pinnacle's all that sharp. And we just want to go ahead and bet this over at Pinnacle. So when you see these types of plays, guys, you could obviously bet this over at Bet 105, right? This is a sports book, in my opinion, that I would love to go bet this at Bet 105. They copy Pinnacle's odds. They're a global sports book. But again, they're not really going to limit me. They're not going to limit me like a Bet Rivers or a Ballybet. And so I'm all for betting this right now over at Bet 105. If you're limited on Ballybet or Bet Rivers, please go ahead and bet this now. But I'm just going to go ahead and log into Bet 105, and I'm going to place this bet. All right, we talk about this all the time. It's a global offshore sports book, but it copies Pinnacle's odds, right? If you use code BILLYC on your first deposit of $100, you're going to receive a $50 bonus bet. It's a 1x rollover. It's a really solid book, guys. So we just come over to hockey, and you're just going to scroll down here. Now, their limits maybe are a little bit less for me. Go to player props, and it's going to be shots on goal, right? So Marchand, I can get this at plus 120 odds. I'm fine with that. You can see the max wager's $200 here for me, which that's cool with me. And what I'm going to go ahead and do is just put this down. Now, again, guys, I believe in flat betting, right? I'm going to go in for $150. And again, even though I can't get this at maybe, so it looks like it's $100 for me at the moment. So I can only do $100 at the moment. But they'll take that, which is fine. So I can get this at plus 120 odds, which is 5 cents off to the market, 5 cents off to where we want to get this. And I'm okay with that, right? I can only get $100 down at the moment this early in the day, but I'll take it all day long. Now, the reason I'm always fine with betting this at Bet 105 for a slightly worse price, I don't want to get limited on a book betting an under on a hockey prop, right? It's very early in the morning here, guys. This puck doesn't drop for what, another 12, 13 hours? So this is why I like using Bet 105, because I'm not going to get limited, right? That's the idea behind this. So love to get that over there, and we get that under at 2.5. Obviously, now the price moved over at Bet 105 to plus 113, but that's the idea behind this. Dude, let me catch up with everyone in the chat here. Yeah, appreciate you mentioning that, Irish. If you guys have Fliff, do not forget, obviously he being here in Arizona, Fliff might be, let me take a look. What do we got here? I'm just waiting for Fliff to pull up. Where's it at? There is a free SGA. Yeah, I got to update the app. Okay. But there is a free square on SGA, guys. If you have Fliff, it's free money, $10, all day long. So let's take a look here. Is it going, even though I'm in Arizona, it's probably going to say, hey, we can't. Okay, there it is. So over here, guys, on Fliff, if you don't know, just go ahead. Obviously, I can't make any more deposits on this account because Arizona doesn't allow it. But you can come over here, and you can click right here and then come over to the boosted play, and you can see that SGA is over on his points. So if I can put maybe my 2 cents on it, well, let me bet 2 cents. No, minimum wager is 10 cents, so I can't do it. But this is where you can get your SGA free square, right? You just got to score 1 point. You're going to make money. So there we go. That's how we're doing it. There's Fliff. Appreciate you bringing that up, Irish. Definitely let everybody know it's free money out there. Make sure to grab it. So when we're looking at some of these player props, guys, like on a DraftKings pick 6, this could be worth it, right? Marcus Smart, again, this is for today. The over 2.5 assists, right? Sharp Money says, yo, $2,100 is on his under, or being offered as under. We can get a better price on pick 6. So this might not seem like an EV play from an odds perspective, but the idea here is like someone's putting up over $2,000, where we might not be able to bet that over here on some of these other books, right? That's kind of the idea behind this. So this tool, guys, I think could be very impactful, again, for any shots on goal like Forsling here. $1,700 on his under. We might want to bet his over on this Panthers-Bruins game. This might be a play that we can go grab on maybe, obviously, 6-pick entry. You can grab this on PrizePicks entry. Better, with pick 6. These are some different things that you could do, right? Some different things for sure. Looking at Curry on his points, being recommended that maybe we should bet the under, right? There's $1,900 on ProfitX. There's $1,400 on NoVig. That's a grand total of about, $3,300. We bet Curry's under 26.5 points. We can bet this over at FanDuel right now and get this maybe at like a -112. You could bet this at -110 over at Bovada, right? I would go maybe over to a props builder to grab this, since looks like Bet105 is offering -121. So these are little things that you can think about here, guys. A new perspective in terms of, there's Pinnacle's only taking $250 right now on Steph Curry. So betting this, using the sharp money tool and betting into some of the sharper books like a Bet105. We're not trying to maybe go after maybe the DraftKings or FanDuels of the world. I'm okay sacrificing a couple cents in price, going over to Props Builder and playing this at -115. This could be something that if you start now early in the season, this is something that you can look into as we move forward, right? So that's where I'll go over to maybe my Bet Online, where I have some money over on Props Builder, and I'm just going to go ahead and bet this over on Steph Curry. Right, the limits on Props Builder, I might not be able to get a lot of money down, but again, the idea with Props Builder is a lot of sports books have this Props Builder, so I could place this at a bunch of different spots. And it might seem crazy betting the under on Steph Curry, but I'm okay with maybe getting a little sprinkle down on this play and saying, let's just put this down for maybe 1 unit, right? So I'll go in for $120, bet this under 26.5. This is a sharp money play, and this is where I can start to track some of this, right? I get Steph under 26.5. And another thing, guys, when we're betting props is that what you have to understand is, this morning, guys, there's going to be news that's going to come out later today about certain players. Now, obviously, we're at the beginning of the season. Everyone's pretty much healthy, good to go. But as we get deeper into the season, there's going to be times during the day where when news drops on injuries, it's going to really impact the NBA. If LeBron, we know LeBron's going to be missing for a while, but if Luka's not going to play tonight, or if Steph's not playing tonight, that massively impacts the game. So this is a little different betting player props, guys, when it comes to, and we're spending a little bit more time here on the sharp money tool, but with the NBA, it's much different than the NHL. Now, if Connor McDavid's not playing, that's a big deal. But in general, if, someone's missing out of the lineup, if Mookie's not playing for the Dodgers, that shifts things a little bit, but there's still going to be another player that's slotted in. Baseball is a 1v1 kind of sport, pitcher versus batter. The NBA, if a Kevin Durant or a Jason Tatum or a Luka isn't playing in the game, that massively impacts then the rest of the team, the lineup, and how the points, the rebounds, and assists gets distributed between that lineup. So one player being out in the NBA is a massive, massive shift in what happens to the rest. It's a big ripple effect, no doubt. So just kind of wanted to bring that up. A lot of OGs and DGens kind of know this, but understanding that betting player props on baseball compared to the NBA is two different things. Two different things for sure. We'll come back over to this, guys, as I'm really going to be spending a lot of time this year on the tool when it comes to betting the player props with the NBA. So I'm over here looking at some mainline markets for the NBA, right? We're looking at main and alternates. I've made videos in the past, guys, talking about first quarter overs and under, first quarter overs, first half point spreads for the NBA. These are some markets that I've targeted on FanDuel in the past. And there was some opportunities before. We're looking at some first quarter total points. This is an over 3% edge. This is in my wheelhouse, guys. You could bet this on DraftKings. Obviously, Pinnacle's a bit off here on this play. We're looking at the over. I love betting first quarter total points overs on FanDuel. Oh my God, it's one of my favorite things to do. It really is. You can see that Pinnacle within the last hour, guys, has dropped off a cliff. Since this line opened up, when they offered it at plus 126, it's down to plus 108. We can bet this over on the Lakers and the Warriors here at plus 124 odds. I love this play. This is a play I'd go to all day long. If you guys don't know, this is just I'll share the link in the chat, guys. This is a video that I broke down on YouTube a while back. From the coin side of no vig, Rick, no. To my knowledge, you can't. Good question, but no. You can't make anything from the coin side of no vig. Well, I tell you this, Rick. If you can perform some challenges over there, you can definitely do that. But otherwise, not really. Not really, in my opinion. So let's see. Let's go with... Let me go over to my... there it is. Bingo. All right, so I'm going to share this video with you guys. This video is a little bit older, but it still applies. This is a first quarter total points betting strategy that I love to utilize. So we're looking over here. And again, guys, with these plays, this is usually the alternate line. It's always the alt line with first quarter total points. So you're just going to filter over here to first quarter. And then we're just going to go to, you can see the total points is probably 55. So we're looking for alts and we're looking for the over by just 1 or 2 points, right? We could put the profit boost on it. OddsJam's telling me to bet 120. I'll just go in for a 125 spot. Max wager size is $453. And there we go. We grabbed the Lakers and the Warriors over 57.5. I know I just bet Steph on his under on his points. There's a lot of other dudes, though, on the floor that could go off. So this happens all the time where scoring can be ridiculous in the NBA. It's kind of like hockey. Hockey in the NBA, they're kind of back to those old school 80s days where there's like 9 goals scored in a hockey game and there's like 260 points scored in a basketball game. But this is something that I definitely like to target. Now, when it comes to the second quarter spread, not a market that I'm typically betting on. If it's a first quarter spread, I'm cool with it. Normally, I don't bet on second, third, fourth quarters pregame for the NBA. Not something that I mess around with. But it's out there if you want it. Obviously, if you want to go after an easier play, it's the over 56 over here on Bookmaker. You could do this as well. Again, you could see that Pinnacle and Bet Online are moving in a specific direction. Obviously, I could add more onto this if I wanted to. Over at Bookmaker, I already placed one bet. If I wanted to add more to my position, which I'm going to go over to Bookmaker. Again, guys, remember, I'd rather hit this play up on Bookmaker on the over 56 than the over 57.5. It's an easier over to hit. And you have to, in my mind, I'm always thinking about, dude, if they score 53 points, then you're going to be, hopefully, just remember, don't be crying in your cereal because of what happened. So we're just going to take a look over here on Bookmaker, and I'm going to go ahead and snag this. This is minus 101 odds. I really like this one as well. So, again, might be taking a little more up, biting off more than I can chew, but we're going to go in for a 200 spot because we're at minus 101 odds on Bookmaker. The big bad books don't scare me. So we're taking that over 56. And it just moved the cent now after I bet it. Okay. Again, you want to grab this on DraftKings, you could do so as well, or Onyx. We talked about this. You could bet some team totals. Again, I'm not going to go after the over 58.5. It's a lower EV edge play, and this is just an easier play to hit at the over 57. Again, Rockets second quarter spread. These are the only alt markets, guys, that I would typically go after. Also, Rockets +4. This is Pinnacle's taking $3K on this. It's 10 cents off, which I don't mind. BetOnline's it's only 5 cents off to BetOnline. Let's see what we have here. There's a lot of movement here within the last hour from Caesars, so I'm probably going to stay away from this one. Don't like that. I like that it's 10 cents off, but I don't like that it's the book that's moving. As you can see here, guys, with the gold plan, the platinum plan, use code Billy35. You're going to save 35% off your first month. After the 1 week trial ends, you'll get a free 1 week trial. This is the time to check it out, guys, right? Definitely the time to check this out. Warriors on the money line today over at Ballybet. Is this real life? This is a lower edge play, guys, but this is very good. Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh, yes. And I know I'm going to get limited on Ballybet, and this is an opportunity here, guys, with Ballybet. I have a Bet Rivers account, Ballybet, Desert Diamond. I know that I'm going to get burned on some of these accounts. If I'm betting money lines, I'm going to bet this right now. Now, to me, OddsJam's going to tell me that I should only bet $80, but I disagree with this. I disagree with this because I want to get down as much money as I possibly can. So this is a really big deal to me to find an edge that is almost an arb to pinnacle, or at least a low hold. This is a big deal for me. So I'm going to go in for a 250 spot here, guys, on the Warriors on the money line. And they'll accept this because it's the NBA, right? But $250. Now you would say, Billy, why are you betting so much more on this play? It's a low edge play. Dude, it's a money line play for the NBA. You don't see plays like this pop up very often. So I'm very bullish on this because the edge is lower. But remember what we're talking about. It's the market in the area. It's a money line for the NBA. So this is a really big deal. And if I look at, this is 13 cents off the pinnacle. It's 16 cents off to bookmaker, 8 cents to Circa, 13 cents to Bet Online. All of these boxes are checked off. And I'm not expecting any crazy injury news today because it's the opening night. So it's the first game. So this is a great play. If you guys have Bally Bet or Bet Parks, go ahead and smash Warriors money line. Right, you could also bet this over at Onyx, the over first half points if you wanted to. It's a lower EV edge play, but it's an easier play to hit on Onyx than it is on anywhere else. But again, if Onyx is copying DraftKings odds, then this play's probably not there yet. It's just an every game play. It's Onyx. Onyx is a little tough sometimes. Okay, so that's the NBA markets, guys. That's what we're really focused on. Again, if we're looking at this Warriors minus 1.5, there's only $24 here on no vig. Right, it's a low hold to Pinnacle. Pinnacle's taking $15,000 on this play. Grab this play on no vig. Don't sweat it. Don't overthink it. Let me catch up to everybody else. Anthony, it's a good question. In terms of devigging, so in terms of devigging to FanDuel, we can, right? It's just going to depend on the time of the day, right? And kind of what limits or what. Later on, so where I would really devig to FanDuel is when we're about an hour to 2 hours before tip. That's where I would want to devig to FanDuel. That's where I think FanDuel becomes really sharp. I think early in the morning like this, FanDuel can be beat. No doubt about that. Michael asks, how can I change what books show up on viewing all odds for a given play on the Sharp Money tool? If you don't see Bet105's odds, Michael, you're going to have to come up over here. It's a good question for anyone that's new. You got to come up here. You're going to want to go to your profile. Okay. Once you go to your profile, go to your excluded books. Okay. If a book is checked off, then you will not see them on your screen. If they're not checked off, like if I type in DraftKings, you will see them. So make sure whatever books that you want to see on this, make sure it's offered. Now, if you guys are using the gold plan, Bet105 might not be available for you guys to view because Bet105 is a global offshore sports book, and that's going to be part of the platinum plan, right? But make sure, guys, if you do not want to see a book, you check it off. And if you do want to see the book, make sure it's not checked. That's how that works. But it's a good question. So, and then obviously, as you guys know, we just come up here, and this is where, you can click your sports books here to see what you want and don't want. It's going to depend on what state or country that you live in. So just come over here and type this in, but that's going to be out there for you guys. So what I want to kind of do now, guys, is I'm going to really focus more of my NBA player prop bets. For those of you that are here this morning that aren't going to be able to get any bets later today, I'll have this devig to Pinnacle at the moment. I'll just show some player props just for you guys. I'm not going to probably place any player prop bets right now. Not too many, right? If I was going to place any of these on FanDuel, this is maybe the time that I would do it. But Chet Holmgren over on his rebounds. Seems like the theme here, though, is that Pinnacle is, feels the strongest on the over. They're bullish on his over compared to the rest of the sports betting market, something that you want to pay attention to. So when you click in on his over, you can see the Pinnacle's been moving in a direction for a specific amount of time. So this is a strong indicator for me. Like, it's hard to argue this, especially within the last hour. They went from minus 130 to minus 138. So to be able to get this at minus 102, I think is very, very, very good. And the fact is that this line's been out there for a while, guys. So this is a pretty decent indicator since about 24 hours ago. This play's been moving in one direction over at Pinnacle. Okay. So on this play on FanDuel, I'm okay with grabbing Holmgren, right? If you can see something like that, that's a trend that's been going in one direction for a while, then I'm all good with going after that. Okay. But outside of that, this is where I would probably look to bet FanDuel. Otherwise, later tonight, I would lean into FanDuel as a sharp. But FanDuel hasn't moved much. And FanDuel can be beat, guys. I don't want to sit here and say that I'm never going to bet into FanDuel. They definitely can be beat. You just want to make sure you kind of pick your spots on where you're going after them. Now, am I going to wager $350 on this play? No, and I probably should. I'm probably under betting my edge when it comes to this. But I can easily say that, I'll tread softly here, right? But I'll go in for $150 on Chet Holmgren. And there we go. Okay. So we'll go grab this play on Chet. I possibly am under betting my edge, but I'm okay with that because it is the beginning of the season. And if Holmgren gets, 4 rebounds, then this play never had a chance. Well, Anton, what you're going to notice, Anton, and this is a Canby Sportsbook, okay? So if you guys are limited on a Bally bet or a Bet Rivers, but you haven't placed many NBA bets, you're going to see that you're going to be able to get some action down over there. Also, Anton, remember, it's a money line play. So that's why they're not limiting you, right? Money line's a very popular play. There's a lot of liquidity, right? Player props have low liquidity. That's where people get limited instantly is player props. Now, I don't mind placing that Holmgren bet on FanDuel because even on a limited FanDuel account, I can still make plenty of money over there. But understand that moneyline play is a very popular play. The sportsbooks will always take action there. And that'll be, if they do limit you on a moneyline play, you'll be able to get the most amount of money down on a moneyline play compared to any other market because there's a ton of liquidity in money lines. Right? So that's why you're not seeing limits. So if you guys got limited betting baseball or NFL on Bally Bet or Bet Rivers, do not hesitate to go over to Bally Bet to place that money line bet because you probably might be able to get $50, maybe $100 down still. And it's a minus 137. It's not like we're taking a massive underdog at plus 450 where we can't get much down. Books should probably let you bet whatever you kind of want over there to a certain extent. Chi-Town, OKC minus 7.5. Is it a good bet? Off the top of my head, I don't know. So if we're looking at point spreads, at minus 7.5 on Fanatics is plus 105. You could see some books have this at minus 6, minus 6.5. Obviously, I'd rather have the minus 6.5 and maybe take this on no vig for $300. Again, guys, Pinnacle's taking $15K. What's Bookmaker taking on this Thunder spread? Let's take a look. Bookmaker is taking on the minus 6.5. They're taking $11,800. So they're taking a little bit less than Pinnacle. So I would still rather probably, definitely take this play on no vig all day long. Minus 108's okay. It's not great. It's fine. But yeah, I mean, the Fanatics play, you could grab it here, but I don't really know if it's all that sharp of a play, right? Minus 106, it's okay. But I'd rather get that no vig play for $300 all day long at minus 104. I'd like to do that one for sure. That would be the play that I would go after. But it's a good question. All right, so we're looking, I'm just going to kind of refresh and scroll through here, guys. If these are some player prop bets, if you only have time right now to bet on player props, then these are going to be some different plays that you can go after. I'm going to save most of my player prop betting for later tonight. And obviously, we can take a look later today to see how that Chet Holmgren play aged. I'm going to be willing to say that we probably got we'll get some closing line value over there, but we'll have to see. SGA over on his PRA. That could be definitely a play that I would like. Player rebounds with Vanderbilt. Some different plays here for sure. No problem, Anton. Good to hear that, Irish. Nice, man. Nice. Unforgettable 5. So I'll go back because I'm just kind of going back through. You don't understand. Okay, unforgettable. So the recreational sport. So so hopefully you're still on the stream, brother. If I am a professional sports bettor, okay, what most people don't understand is that professional sports bettors and betting syndicate groups They'll bet into DraftKings, they'll bet into FanDuel, but they're looking to get down a lot of money. Professional sports bettors or betting syndicate groups hire originators. Originators are people who create their own model. So when you create your own model, your model allows you to bet into markets where top-down. This is top-down sports betting. All we're doing here with this play, all we're doing here is picking off stale books, right? This play on Hard Rock is a really good price. It's the only sports book other than No Vig that's offering plus odds, and they're offering plus 110. So that's why we're being recommended this play, right? But when we're looking at betting syndicate groups, okay, and we're looking at the total points in this Thunder game, betting syndicate groups and originators can take a play that's like a minus 110 here on the over-under 228, and it says, yo, go bet this over 228 because our model says that this play is like minus 160 and the fair value is minus 135. So anything between minus 130 to plus 100, go fill the over 228 in this Rockets Thunder game. These are people that create their own models that look at maybe historical data, look at various different factors, and their model spits them out a price. And then they go and try to get that order filled. So if some people know, so if professional bettors out there that maybe they bet NBA player props, that's their jam. They have a 9% return on betting NBA player props. They crush NBA player props. So they can come over here to, let's say, a player points, right? And, if you have $1 million bankroll, you're not really interested in betting $150 on NBA player props. So on an NBA player prop model, they're looking at Andrew Wiggins. And their model says, listen, dude, this under 11.5 is minus 180. Okay? Well, we can go bet this at a ton of places, right? So, but we know that on FanDuel and DraftKings and Caesars and ESPN Bet and Hard Rock, like we can only get like a couple $100 down, right? But on No Vig and ProfitX, we can put down as much money as we want on the exchanges. There's literally no limit. So if we wanted to put $10,000 down, because that's our bankroll size for this play, we could put $10K down on ProfitX or No Vig. And then we can get this order filled, right? But if we try to bet $10K on FanDuel, we can't do that. We can't bet $10K on DraftKings, right? Unless we have maybe like a VIP account. So the reason that the liquidity is such a big deal is that this early in the morning, these sports books are only taking X amount of dollars, FanDuel and DraftKings and Caesars, on certain player props. So if I'm a professional bettor, I need to get money down. I got partners in my group that are like, yo, we gotta get money down because we're trying to make a boatload of cash here. We're not interested in making $500. We're trying to make like 15, 20K tonight. Like, let's get some money down, right? That's where the exchanges come into play with sharp money, because they're getting down way more money. So if we see someone that's putting down $5K on an NBA player prop bet this early in the morning, and FanDuel's taking like $500 on that play, and FanDuel's the largest book in America with the most liquidity, that's why that's such a powerful tool, is because, books aren't taking this book. You can't get $2,500 down on a DraftKings player prop bet. They're not going to let you do that. So that's where this is really impactful. So we want to be on the side of the sharp bettors. And so the higher the liquidity, the more confidence that would have in a play that it is a sharp bettor out there placing that type of bet, right? And by the way, guys, for those of you that are new to this, like when I was at Bet Bash, I got to talk to some people that are professional bettors that are way smarter than I am. Trust me, they're not trying to like deep fake us. They don't care about us. They just care about getting their money down, getting and making their bets. They know that their model can beat any sports book. They bet into Pinnacle. They bet into the sharp books. They're not worried about that. So there isn't really like a deep fake in terms of these guys are trying to sprinkle liquidity down just to like fake us out. They're not worried about us. They know that their model makes money, and that's all that they're really concerned with. So that's the whole idea behind liquidity. If any of you guys are kind of new to this scene with it, that's what it's all about, right? So $500 on SGA over PRA. I'm not too concerned with this liquidity. While Pinnacle's taking $250, if this was $5,000, then I'm concerned, right? I wouldn't want to bet this, but I would go grab this over at No Vig. I have no problem with that. Rui Hashimura, anytime that I can see FanDuel and Fanatics, the same price. This is something that I'm okay going after. Pinnacle dropped off a cliff. Let me move my head up here so you guys can see that. You can see that Pinnacle dropped off a cliff. Like they were at, where were they at? Plus 104. They're now at like minus 127. So again, this is like another indicator that I'd say, you know what? I'm happy going over and betting this right now on FanDuel. So early in the morning, guys, if I'm betting player props, I'll bet them over at FanDuel because I don't mind going after that. But otherwise, later tonight, I'm going to use FanDuel as more of a guide or a resource. So $290, a little bit thick, rich for my blood, but still, I'll go in for a 200 spot and we'll take a look at Rui. Okay, so there he is, Rui Hashimura over on his points. This is a 5% edge. Again, guys, you could see that the two plays that I took from Holmgren and from Rui are over 5% EV edge plays on FanDuel. And two other things that were key. There was significant movement from Pinnacle in a certain area, right? There's a lot of movement from Pinnacle in one specific direction. So both of these bets have a common theme. Pay attention that I'm placing these bets off of significant movement, right? Pinnacle moved within the last hour, or in the Chet play, he moved over the last 24 hours. All right, so let's take a look at some mainline plays for football. And we'll use Pinnacle again, and we'll start off with the NFL. And we'll look at the NFL, and we'll take a look to see for some mainline markets what we have going on. If you guys found any of this insightful, make sure to smash the subscribe button, click that thumbs up button, let your friends know what's going on, right? It helps the algorithm out a lot. Let's take this all the way to Monday. There we go. And we're not going to really go for anything. That's pretty much it. Okay, so we're looking at some mainline spreads. You want to beat the NFL? Bet early in the week. You want to beat college football? Bet it early in the week. It's Tuesday. This is a great time to place bets now that Week 7 has concluded and we're looking towards Week 8 for the NFL season, right? If I see a play like this with the Bengals, I have a lot of opportunities. There's going to be a specific, strategy that I'm looking to go after. I've mentioned this, guys, in previous streams, but I am offering a group class session starting Wednesday, October 29th, one class every 2 weeks. Each class is 1 hour long. And this is where you're going to be able to ask me questions based off of, where you're going to be able to get a little bit of one-on-one time. But it's a session where we're going to kind of deep dive into the markets, the sports books, the odds range, kind of give you an EV betting for live and pre-match, what you want to focus on. What's the best use of your time if you sign up with a sports book? Should you use that book for live? Should you use it for pre-match? Not every sports book that you sign up for should you just hit pre-game bets up with. Some books you'll get more utility with if you use for live betting, right? So because I've been using OddsJam software for 4 years, offering some different types of classes, guys, where if you don't want to work, working with me one-on-one, if you want to work with me one-on-one and you want to have a sit-down chat with me, I'll drop that link right here. And if you want to grab the group call here, guys, here's the link to sign up for the group call, where it's going to be one call every 2 weeks for 3 months, 6 classes in total. Each class is an hour long. Calls are recorded. You get shared the links. You get shared the notes. Obviously, you have my email, so we can go back and forth and talk about what's going on. But those are going to be there if you want to check those out. How sharp do you think Bet 105 is? Well, Rick, we talked about this. They copy Pinnacle, right? So the reason that I have a Bet 105 is because I want to bet into Pinnacle, right? There's definitely times where I want to bet Pinnacle, right? Even though we talk about how sharp Pinnacle is, like, dude, Pinnacle can catch action from me any day of the week. Obviously, the Brad Marchand play earlier. So if I see someone that the prop limits are $250, something that I want to make sure is with even OGs and DGens, Rick, anyone, any sports book can catch action from me. I don't want to build Pinnacle up, as the boogeyman, and it's like big and bad and scary. Like any of these books I'll bet into. I have extreme confidence in what I see in the process. I'll bet into Bookmaker. I'll bet into Bet Online. I'll bet into Pinnacle. Now, am I looking to do that all the time? No. But there's definitely spots where you can bet into these books. So if Bet 105 copies Pinnacle, I like that because it gives me an option now to bet Pinnacle. I'm not afraid of it at all. So if you guys are looking here on Bengals, right, we're looking at some Bengals spreads. So if I type in Bengals, so I think I think they're just a book that really just copies it. It just offers another option for bettors outside of Canada that can bet into Pinnacle if they want to, Rick. So I don't think that they're really setting their own lines or markets. They're just copying Pinnacle's odds for the most part. So if we're looking at Bengals spreads here, guys, obviously I'm always interested in getting the spread that's the easiest to hit. So -4.5, right? Now remember, if you're limited on Hard Rock, then please go hit these up. If you're limited on Ballybet, please go hit these up. If you're not limited on Hard Rock, then understand that betting on a Tuesday into the Sunday for spreads is one way that you might get limited. Okay, it is a possibility because it's like 4 or 5 days in advance. Yeah, GL, what do you do when there's high liquidity on both sides of a bet? When I'm using the sharp money tool, sometimes there would be a big bet on one side. Yeah, and GL, it's a good question, GJ. So, or Mr. Rees, I can call you. So, what you guys are going to understand is this. Okay, and people are going to ask this question. Billy, Chet Holmgren was EV on the over, but now all of a sudden I see the EV's over on, the EV on, there's EV on his under. So, remember, guys, with these liquidities when it comes to player props, if we have EV on Chet Holmgren on his over, okay, and then if enough people bet his over, it can push his under's price to a value where all of a sudden later in the day, there might be value on Chet Holmgren's under. And both can be true. Both plays can be EV. If there's enough, it's just like anything else. If demand is high enough, supply and demand, if demand's high enough, then the price is going to get shifted, right? So that's where understanding and being able to look at like line history on these plays, whether it's player props, that's where line history with OddsJam, guys, this is really going to transform your player prop betting strategy. Being able to see the movement from sharp sports books or recreational sports books. Again, if you don't want to see these 4 books, come over here and pick whatever sports book you want to take a look at. If you're like, dude, I really want to see Ballybet. What do they have? What's Ballybet doing right now? Right? You can see that. Being able to see this from a player prop is huge. Now, I understand for you guys with the sharp money tool, there is that option on the sharp money tool that you can just come over here and say, right here, look at the line history. And this is where you can look at it. And this is where you can add your books. And you could say, show me Fanatics' line movement. And you could see that Fanatics and Ballybet are having 2 different experiences. Fanatics set this line 2 days ago, where Ballybet just set it like 7 hours ago. So we want to bet this on Ballybet because even Fanatics, as much fun as I make of Fanatics, they're moving in a certain direction, right? So being able to look at that line movement for player prop betting is massive. So if enough people bet Şengün over on his blocks, you could drive this price all the way down to maybe it's now plus 100. Now there's value on his under, okay? So when you're seeing this throughout the day, that's why player prop betting can be difficult, guys, because there's low liquidity. That's why I love focusing on betting mainline markets. It's really difficult to move mainline markets like moneyline spreads and totals, their price. It's hard to move that price 50, 60 cents, right? Unless there's massive injuries in the lineup. If I find out that Steph, Draymond, and Jimmy are all going to be missing because they all went out and got sushi last night and got sick, that's going to move the Warriors money line from -137 on Ballybet to maybe a plus 110. Otherwise, the line might move to maybe -125, maybe -145, but it's not going to move like player props, right? Player props, there's less liquidity in these markets because these books offer so many different props. So you're going to see massive swings throughout the day based on injury news or just based on volume and betting activity. And that's something that you guys, if you're new to sports betting or if you just like to bet NBA and now you're tuning in, this is something that's important that you have to understand is that both things can be true. Chet's over can be EV, and then later on today, he could have his under be EV as well. And that's just based off of what's going on in the day with either injury news or just general market activity. And hopefully that makes sense. If not, obviously DM me or email me and we can talk a little bit more about maybe why that doesn't make sense. But you're going to see massive shifts throughout the day, guys, with player prop betting. That's just how it's going to be. That's why I usually tread softly with player prop betting If you want to have a better accurate representation of what can happen with player props, wait until an hour before tip, because you're going to find out the injury news. You're going to find out maybe who's in the starting lineup, right? And there's still going to be some bets here, guys, where Chet Holmgren maybe plays, only 3/4 of this game tonight, right? Remember, the NBA, some games are going to be this year where there's going to be a blowout by the third quarter, right? The Lakers might be losing tonight by 40 going into the third quarter. The Thunder might be up by 40. So Chet Holmgren's at 6 rebounds, but he didn't play the fourth quarter because he didn't need to. Remember? So just think of those types of scenarios as well, guys, because that can happen, right? I've had plenty of NBA player prop bets that have cashed because I bet the under, and it was a blowout. And if that dude would have played in the fourth quarter, I would have lost. And I've had it on the reverse side as well. So let's get back over here. But yeah, guys are asking great questions, but there's a lot that goes into it with player props. And because liquidity is so low for player props, lines can be moved and shifted. Odds prices can be shifted. It's not as difficult to move lines. If Alex Monahan wants a certain play or certain price, he can do that. He has enough money in his accounts. He can move certain markets if he wanted to. And so you just have to be cognizant of that. That's all. No, Trent, haven't looked at NHL plays at all today. Been focusing a little bit more on NBA, but we're definitely going to be looking for that. I'm probably going to wait until later at the 6 o'clock stream. 6 o'clock stream, we're going to smash NBA player props. We're going to be looking for NHL player props, but haven't messed around yet with anything for NHL player shots on goal. Honestly, guys, I know I've spent a lot of time with player props. My main focus and goal early in the mornings is betting main markets. This is where you can beat main markets, okay? Player props I like to reserve till later, but it's obviously opening night here for the NBA, so it's a big deal. But yeah, morning streams, guys, I really want to devote to betting more main markets, especially early in the week here for football. So if we're looking at like the Browns and the Patriots here, I know that you guys might not be as interested betting on a Sunday play, but again, this is how you can beat the NFL. This is almost a low hold to Pinnacle. I would be very much willing to bet this over on either Novig or Polymarket over here. Again, if you guys don't have access to these books, like I don't, then I could simply just come over to 4CX and bet this as well, right? Better have 6-6 payouts now, Darius. So I know that they offered some I was seeing on OddsJam like 6-pick entries were kind of like the new hotness in terms of that. I have to go back over the optimizer to kind of see what's what. Let's do a quick refresh. Let's kind of go through just some plays by plays. So we talked about these Bengals spreads, guys. If you have Hard Rock, grab the -4.5. If you don't have Hard Rock, obviously Pinnacle's taking $20,000 right now on the -7 against the Jets. While I hate the Bengals with a passion, I'm still totally fine with grabbing this play. Again, if you're like me and you're nervous about, I'm probably going to get limited on my Bally bet. Now, I only have $65 that's left over. Again, -7 is a pretty important number. But if we come down here and look at Pinnacle, this is 12 cents off, which I really like. Pinnacle's moved a little bit, not a ton. Obviously, guys, with the NFL, we still are waiting for certain injury news to pop out, right? But you can also bet this over at Bet Rivers as well if you wanted to, which I'm okay with it, right? But -7 is a pretty key number, even though it's the Jets, right? It's the Jets. So you can grab that right now. But I have to take a look at that, Darius. Appreciate you letting me know about that because I wasn't aware. So obviously a lot of Hard Rock value. Hard Rock's a very easy sports book to make money on. Outside of Hard Rock, do we have much? Profit X, Ravens, Bears, under 49.5. Yeah, this is 11 cents off to Pinnacle. And again, any main market that is 8 cents off or more in price, I'm interested on. So you got to go from +106 to +100. That's a movement of 6. From +100 to -105, which is Pinnacle here, that's a movement of 5. 6 + 5 is 11. That's how we're getting that number. And again, there's only $290 here. So Pinnacle's taking $3,000 on this play. I would happily go over to ProfitX and bet this all day long. I mean, hell, even Bally Bet moved from +104 to +100. You can see Pinnacle's moving quite a bit. Again, guys, this is where you can beat the exchanges. Like, there's always a way for you guys to beat the exchanges, right? Everyone's afraid of the exchanges because of the high liquidity. You just got to look for spots where you can beat them. $290 is not much money. Go bet this right now on the under for the Bears and the Ravens. Eagles at -7.5. Again, this Eagles play, this Ravens-Bears play. There's $21 and $43 of liquidity. Please don't overthink this. Just go grab it. It's a very EV play. A little different story maybe here if I'm looking at Sport Trade. Again, if I'm looking to bet FanDuel with the Giants and the Eagles, a little tougher scenario here because while Pinnacle is at -117, Bookmaker and Circa's at -110, right? So this is 5 cents off compared to Bookmaker with FanDuel, which is okay. But BetOnline did just move. They went from -110 to -113. Small movement there. Pinnacle hasn't moved much within the last 10 hours. But this is something that I could go ahead and grab over here on FanDuel if I wanted to. It's a lower edge play. I'm okay with it, but I'm probably just going to wait. Also, guys, something else that I want to make sure that I mention. If you have a lower bankroll, okay, if you're managing a bankroll that's between $100 to $500, my advice to you is to focus on arbitrage betting and focus on NBA player prop arbitrage betting, okay? You do not want to have your funds. If you have a $200 bankroll right now and you're looking at me go through these plays, you should not really be betting any of these plays because you're going to tie up your money for like the next 4 to 5 days. Your funds are frozen. You have to wait until the game's played. That's not an ideal situation for efficiently managing your bankroll, okay? You should be betting arbitrage NBA player props. Come over to the arbitrage tool, set your date range for today, look for the NBA and say, or anything else that's outside the NBA, and bet these player props right now. That's what I would do because you're going to be able to put your money into the market today, receive it back, and then take your profits and put it back into the market tomorrow, okay? That's what you want to do when it comes to smaller bankrolls. Do not bet college football and NFL plays now that the NBA has returned. Don't have your money tied up for 4 or 5 days. It's an inefficient way to use your bankroll. So naturally, guys, you can see that No Vig is offering about $79 on Case and Wallace, which this play matches up with a bunch of other sports books. I would just go bet. Grab this liquidity first on No Vig, and then you can figure out what you need to do with Case and Wallace on his over, okay? Obviously, that disappeared, but it was a play out there. Buddy Hield, again, you could grab this on ProfitX. There's about $560. You could bet this under on Sportsino. Again, as I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, I don't know how many people are betting unders on NBA player props this early in the morning. But if you wanted to wait until later today, you could do that as well. Yeah, Trent, I mean, listen, well, and the other thing is there's a couple of things, the reason why I want to focus this, okay? A lot of people just completely forget about mainline markets, okay? And the reason that people forget about mainline markets is because of a few reasons. And I'm not trying to get on you, Trent. I'm just trying to make a point because this is where I'm kind of going to end the stream, guys. Obviously, we're back tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern. So a lot of people only look at the high EV edge plays, but what they don't understand is that mainline markets, they're not, when you look at player prop markets, guys, and you're going to see this, everyone just bets player props, and there's a misunderstanding, in my opinion, or a lack of education in terms of people understanding the difference between an 8% player prop edge and a 2% money line edge. There's a massive difference there, right? Cam Whitmore, there's not a lot of money on this play. Like, Pinnacle's taking $250. Like, that's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. There's not a lot of money. So while this play has an edge, don't become so attached to the fact that it's 8%, because no sportsbook's really taking a lot of money on this play. They're just not. So when I take off player prop markets and I can go over to the NFL and I can see, and let's make sure we look for the NFL. And I can come over here to the NFL and I could say, dude, Pinnacle's taking $20,000 on this play, and this is a 3% edge. This edge is much higher to me than it is to the Cam Whitmore play, because Pinnacle in one market's taking $250 and Pinnacle on the other market's taking $20,000. That's a massive difference. These two things are not the same. That's like you talking to a professional sports bettor that you bet $250 on your plays, and the professional sports bettor is like, yeah, I bet $20,000 on my play. We're not in the same league here, dude. These are two different things. But if you guys are on the stream, focus on mainline markets. I cannot implore you guys enough to look at mainline markets. And even if it's a 1% edge play, the fact is that Pinnacle's taken $20K on this Eagles play, and it's a 1.45% edge. That's a higher edge. Look at how much more money Pinnacle's taken on this play. Don't get infatuated with NBA player props where Pinnacle's taking $250. Because while I'm not saying it's a bad play, I just have way more confidence in these plays because Pinnacle's taking more money down. And they're not taking like $500 compared to $250. They're taking $20K. I mean, that's kind of the point that I'll drive home with you guys. It's very important. By the way, new offshore sports book added called Bracco. I haven't signed up yet. I don't know. I got to take a look at them. I got to look to see how it is. So again, that's why I stress main markets. Make sure you bet your main markets. Make sure that you're looking for tomorrow, like after tomorrow night, look for Thursday's NBA plays for main markets. That's what it's all about. Otherwise, guys, enjoy the morning. I'll talk to you guys in, I don't know, like 8-9 hours. And we'll do this again, and we'll definitely focus on some NHL player props. We'll definitely take a peek at the World Series Game 1, and we'll obviously bet the Lakers game and the Thunder game. Get ready for those. Talk to you guys later. Take care.